Charlton Heston, the iconic star of epic films like Ben-Hur, The Ten Commandments, and Planet of the Apes, is remembered for his larger-than-life presence both on-screen and off. But there's more to this Hollywood legend than just his famous roles. Behind the scenes, Heston led a life filled with quirks, strange habits, and personal stories that most people don't know about. In this video, we're diving into 10 weird facts about Charlton Heston that will change the way you see this legendary actor. 10. Charlton Heston's real name was John Charles Carter, adopting his mother's maiden name for a more epic stage presence. It might surprise you to learn that the famous actor we know as Charlton Heston wasn't actually born with that name. Heston was born John Charles Carter on October 4th, 1923. So, where did Charlton Heston come from? It turns out that he chose his mother's maiden name, Heston, for his stage name because he thought it sounded more epic, perfect for the kind of larger-than-life roles he'd eventually become famous for. As for the first name, Charlton, that was something he felt was more dignified and fitting for his on-screen persona. It's fascinating to think that his iconic name, which is now synonymous with the Hollywood greats, was carefully crafted to sound grand and commanding, just like the roles he would go on to dominate. So, the name Charlton Heston wasn't born from Hollywood, but from a man with an eye for dramatic effect and a deep understanding of the power of name recognition. 9. Charlton Heston broke 2 ribs filming Ben-Hur's chariot race but finished the scene without painkillers. Charlton Heston's iconic role in Ben-Hur required him to film one of the most famous chariot races in film history. But what you probably don't know is that during the filming of that scene, Heston was seriously injured. He broke 2 of his ribs while filming the intense race. But here's where it gets crazy. Heston insisted on finishing the scene without taking any painkillers. That's right, despite being in intense pain, he refused any medical aid and powered through the scene. Why? Well, for Heston, the integrity of the scene and the authenticity of the performance mattered more than comfort. He wanted to ensure that every moment of the iconic race was as real and visceral as possible, even if it meant enduring extreme pain. It's a testament to his commitment to his craft and his legendary work ethic, and it's one of the reasons that Ben-Hur is considered one of the greatest films in Hollywood history. 8. Charlton Heston collected dozens of historical weapons, including swords, muskets, and a full-scale Roman spear. It's no surprise that Charlton Heston, a man who often played warriors, kings, and iconic historical figures, had a fascination with history. But did you know that he had a massive collection of historical weapons in his home? Heston was an avid collector of swords, muskets, and other ancient weaponry. He had everything from medieval swords to old rifles and, perhaps most surprisingly, a full-scale Roman spear. The collection wasn't just for show. Heston had a deep love for history and saw these pieces as a way to connect with the past. His home was practically a museum of historical weapons, each one carefully chosen and displayed to reflect his personal connection to history and his roles in epic films. It's clear that Heston was more than just an actor. He was a passionate historian, fascinated by the artifacts that told the stories of past civilizations. 7. Charlton Heston rehearsed dramatic speeches in front of a mirror, wearing a toga to get into character. If you thought Charlton Heston's commanding on-screen presence was natural, think again. Heston took his craft seriously and would often rehearse his dramatic speeches in front of a mirror while wearing a toga. This might sound like an odd ritual, but it speaks to just how deeply he connected with the characters he portrayed. Whether he was preparing for a role like Moses in the Ten Commandments or Judah Ben-Hur in Ben-Hur, Heston knew the importance of embodying his characters fully. He'd wear the costume and rehearse his lines, making sure every gesture, every word, and every expression was perfectly timed. Heston's dedication to rehearsing in such an immersive way shows just how seriously he took his performances. It wasn't just about memorizing lines, it was about becoming the character, living and breathing them before stepping in front of the camera. 6. Charlton Heston had a habit of writing everything in all capital letters, even personal notes and grocery lists. Here's a quirky fact about Charlton Heston. He had a strange habit of writing everything in all capital letters. Whether it was personal notes, grocery lists, or even important correspondence, Heston would always write in uppercase letters. Why? Well, Heston never really explained why he adopted this habit, but some speculate it was part of his need for control and precision. something you could also see in his methodical approach to acting. Writing in all caps gave everything a sense of formality and boldness, which might have been an extension of his on-screen persona. It's just one of those oddities that made Heston even more unique. 5. He was colorblind and often needed help coordinating his costumes on set. Charlton Heston, the larger-than-life actor known for his epic roles, was actually colorblind. Despite playing some of the most visually stunning roles in Hollywood history, Heston had trouble discerning certain colors. On set, he often needed assistance when it came to coordinating his costumes, making sure the outfits matched properly for the scenes. It's incredible to think that this man, who played grand and visually striking characters, had to rely on others to help him pick out his wardrobe. It's one of those strange little-known facts about Heston that highlights the humanity behind the public figure. Despite being one of the most famous actors of his time, he faced challenges that most fans would never have guessed. 4. Heston was so punctual that he reportedly arrived 2 hours early to nearly every shoot or event. Charlton Heston's punctuality became something of a legend in Hollywood. It's said that he would arrive up to 2 hours early to nearly every shoot or event. This wasn't just a coincidence. Heston prided himself on being prepared and respected the importance of being on time. In an industry where stars are often notorious for being late, Heston's punctuality was both a reflection of his professionalism and his personal discipline. He understood that time was valuable and wanted to make sure every minute counted. This habit of being early extended beyond film sets. Heston was just as punctual in his personal life. His reliability and dedication made him a model of professionalism in a world that often took time for granted. 3. He believed in reincarnation and once claimed he had dreams of living as a Roman soldier in a past life. Here's one of the more mystical aspects of Charlton Heston's personality. He believed in reincarnation. Heston once claimed that he had vivid dreams of living as a Roman soldier in a past life. The connection between his beliefs in reincarnation and the roles he often played, like Ben-Hur, was something he found fascinating. In interviews, Heston would talk about how these dreams felt real to him, as though he had actually lived in ancient times. This belief in a past life might explain why he was so drawn to historical roles that often involved fighting or leading people in grand battles. It's almost as though he was reliving a past he couldn't remember, but somehow his soul had a connection to it. 2. Charlton preferred sleeping outdoors. When filming in the desert and once built his own tent using film props. Even though he was a Hollywood star, Charlton Heston had a love for the outdoors that extended to his work on set. When filming in desert locations, he preferred sleeping outdoors rather than in a hotel room. In one instance, during the filming of the 10 Commandments, Heston was staying in a desert location and decided to set up his own tent using film props and materials on hand. He felt more at peace in nature and often found solace in the simplicity of outdoor living. His connection to nature and his choice to sleep under the stars showed a side of him that was down to earth and grounded, far removed from the glamorous Hollywood life he was leading. 1. He carried a pocket-sized copy of the U.S. Constitution everywhere he went. Charlton Heston was a man of strong principles, and one of the more fascinating aspects of his personality was his commitment to the U.S. Constitution. Heston carried a pocket-sized copy of the Constitution with him everywhere he went, whether it was to an awards show, a black tie gala, or even on set. This wasn't just a symbolic gesture for Heston. He believed deeply in the rights and freedoms the Constitution represents. His political activism and public speeches often centered around his dedication to these principles, and carrying the document was a way for him to remind himself and others of the values that he stood for. It's one of those small but telling details about Heston that speaks to his deep connection to American history and his unwavering commitment to personal beliefs. Want to learn more strange stories about your favorite Hollywood legends? Check out the next video popping up on your screen.